Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we actually got more Memento cards than we actually thought. To be fair, the fusion was just kind of flashed during the commercial yesterday that had a bunch of the reveals in it. And the fusion looked crazy. There's actually some slight edits to what its effects actually do, so we're going to take a look at that. And there was actually a second card. It wasn't revealed yesterday, but it is shown off today, and it makes so much more sense for the deck. We'll get into that. But let's start off with the fusion. So, the slight change to what the fusion did, or does. We know that it had the three different effects, the third effect being engrave. It can banish itself from grave to add the field spell, I believe, from the deck to the hand, but it's only the field spell, and it's not like the field spell's a searching field spell, but it's still a good card nonetheless, just to get this engrave. Second effect is a quick effect to target any number of mementos you control and your opponent's cards. It has to be the same amount, and then destroy them. That's also really good as a quick effect because it's clearing boards. All of your stuff floats anyway. Really strong. And the first effect, this is the effect that slightly changes from the translation we saw yesterday. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 memento cards from your deck and or extra deck to the graveyard. That is so strong. Like, actually, that's so strong. So we thought it was only sending 1 memento card yesterday, in which case I still thought that was I still thought the card was good even with that, but now we're sending 3 is out of this world. So really powerful card. And when we go to read this new monster, we also get another way to fuse, which is huge because we really only had the one field, the new quick play spell that's coming in Legacy of Destruction in the TCG in a couple days, as the only way really to fuse prior to this. And now we have a second fusion. So it was like you have 2 fusions, but you could at most only make 1 in the same turn. Now we finally get a second way to fuse, so we could potentially, theoretically, make both in the same turn. And we have ways to make both on the opponent's turn as well. Really cool. Okay, so here's our new monster. This card is based off of Mystical Sheep 2, is what they say here. Known in Japan as Sleepy, which is amazing. I did not know that, but that's amazing that it's not, everybody just calls it Sleepy. Okay, anyway, Memento Sleepy, or Memento Mystical Sheep. This is a level 3 Earth Beast. 800 attack, 100 defense. You can only use the first effect once per turn. Same thing with the second and third. First effect, if a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, just at any point this turn, if any monster was destroyed by card effect, you can special summon this card from the hand. I love that. And it's a quick effect. Jumps out of the hand basically at any point once anything has been destroyed. I will say the one key to that for sure is you have to do this on the opponent's turn. You have to make sure you can pop your own stuff. So that's definitely something you need to be wary of. You need to be able to pop your own stuff there, but I still think that's pretty doable. Second effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can basically perform a fusion summon for a memento from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. So it's not doing anything insane in terms of using materials from deck, materials from grave, or anything. But I think all things considered, the fact that it's jumping out on the opponent's turn potentially, easy extender, and getting you the fusion, I think it's pretty good. Especially since the main fusion, I think this one's better at making Twin Dragon, and maybe now we feel more comfortable using the field or the quick play spell to make the new guy here, your combined Conqueror, because that's the one that shuffles from grave back into deck. So because that one requires 3 materials from hand or field is kind of asking a lot, I think, even though that card does get you good value in return. But I do think it's worth mentioning that this one probably would be a little easier to do. And just in general, monsters that have effects to fuse are better than spells that have effects to fuse. Not in terms of the effect itself, because they can always edit the effect, but because this card is not only a fusion spell, basically, but a fusion spell and a monster in the same card, means you only need 1 more monster on hand, in hand or on field to make for the fusion summon. And as we know, those mechanics like ritual summoning and fusion summoning, the biggest drawback to them is that they do require that spell, usually, to perform their action, which means you just need an extra card, right? To fuse, generally you need a spell, and at least 2 more monsters. That's 3. Same thing with ritual summoning, right? Bare minimum, you normally need a ritual spell, a monster to tribute, at least 1, and the ritual monster already in hand. Now they bypass this sometimes by making the branded fusions of the world and rituals that can kind of cheat stuff out way easier and from grave and stuff. But generally speaking, that's why those mechanics get held back so much, is to get to their main monsters, you need 3 cards to do it. But this card kind of cuts out one of those cards. So it's still good, but still using 3 materials is kind of asking a lot. So I think you'll find yourself making the Twin Dragon over combined with this card specifically. And then later in the turn, when you get to the quick play spell, you will then use that to get to combined, I think. Makes more sense to me. Third effect, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send a memento card from your deck to the graveyard. Pretty cool. Yeah. It is a little weird though, because this card fuses, so like you're going to be using its effect to like fuse. Which doesn't destroy it, so I don't know how relevant that effect really is. I mean, we also could theoretically have ways to reborn this from the grave on the opponent's turn, so maybe that makes a little more sense. So I don't know. There's definitely could be something there. I honestly, off the top of my head, like, it's just interesting. This one seems a little redundant, but to be fair, like all the memento cards have the ability to like float like this. They all have. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Allergy season. Yeah, all in all, though, I think it's a good card. I think it's a nice addition, and it makes more sense to me, right? Like I said at the beginning of the video, seemed a little weird that now the deck has 2 fusion monsters. They're both really strong in their own right, but the deck really only had 1 in-engine way to perform a fusion sum in turn 1. So this card makes a ton of sense, opening up pathways and lines, I would assume. I haven't tested the deck. I've been kind of holding off until we actually got the new cards. But I would assume there are lines where you can end up going through both of the fusion monsters now. And they're not even the main end board pieces, right? A lot of times you're just aiming to get to the 5,000 big bone dragon daddy and utilize him as your biggest end board piece. But these are really good alternate win conditions, really good extra power you're able to add to the deck. And I've heard from some people this deck is not nothing. I don't know how well it plays into Nib and stuff, and I am a little worried that like all the generic, a lot of the generic Nib responses are banned now. So like how many decks are just going to struggle because Nib's going to be everywhere because nobody can handle it, or very few decks in the game can handle it, and decks like this could potentially be one of those decks. I don't know. Again, I haven't tested hard enough to know for sure, but I'm just saying that's one of the concerns I want to check up on and see where this deck lands with that. But there you go. Cool card. Sorry this video ran a little long for 1 new card, basically. But I do think it's an interesting one. This deck has felt like it's kind of been slowly creeping on the come up. We'll see if this is enough to actually like propel them to like legit solid tiered play. But we'll obviously have to wait and see. Alright guys, that's it for me here. Thanks for watching. I'll keep you posted on anything else. I do still believe... hold on here. Let's try... real quick before we go. So Infinite Forbidden, when you go down the line here, there is still 1 slot here, 21, that has an open monster slot that is going to be Legacy support. It's basically confirmed to be in a perfect spot for Legacy support. There's 1 more extra deck monster, so I'm guessing it's a link-based archetype, getting a link monster and a main deck monster and a spell is what I would guess at this point in time. Oh, maybe even a trap too. Wow, maybe a whole wave. Or maybe there's 2 different archetypes, right? Because there's, looking at the slots left, there's a main deck monster, an extra deck, a link slot, a spell slot, and a trap slot. That kind of fits if they want to do a 4-card wave for 1 archetype, or maybe it could be 2 different archetypes and they're just splitting it 2 and 2. I could see that too. I'm expecting that in the next like 2 or 3 days probably, because we're coming down the tracks here. This set literally drops in the OCG in a week, so we're gonna get that stuff revealed, and then we'll probably get filler like 2 or 3 days out from the actual set dropping. So stay tuned for that. There's other news coming as well. I'm out of here for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh news. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.